Hello, you're watching Movie Snapshot Scenes, and this is the summary of Minority Report, 2002. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The year 2054 sees Washington, D.C. become a city without murder, or at least murder that gets away with it. Three gifted people, called precogs, use a method called pre-crime to see crimes coming. With their visions, the police can see murders happening days or even hours before they happen. Some blurry and broken pictures of them are taken, studied, and used by a group of top officers led by Tom Cruise as Chief John Anderton. Anderton has a strong faith belief in pre-crime. He lost his son in a public pool years ago and never found him again. His marriage fell apart because of the loss, and he became hooked to drugs and memories of a life that will never come back. For him, a crime is not only justice, it's escape. His son might still be living if the system had been around earlier. It's as tense as steel when the movie starts. Because he is so jealous, a married man plans to kill his wife and her boyfriend. The precogs see it happen, faces flashing, clocks striking, and knives shining in the sun. Anderton's team takes off, rushing through traffic with the vision's vague directions in hand. They get there just in time, thanks to a seamless dance of human accuracy and machine intelligence. Anderton runs into the room and stops the killer in his tracks, just inches from the victim's chest with the scissors. He tells her, "Put down the gun." The man yells that it doesn't matter that he hasn't done anything yet. Crime stops something bad from happening. Back at headquarters, Anderton watches the precogs work in a room that looks like a chapel. While they're floating in nutrient fluid pools, their heads twitch as pictures appear above them, like signs from God. Agatha, who takes care of them, is the strongest of the three. She is weak and childlike, but she knows too much to be true. She can see not only what will happen, but also what might. Because of how well the show did, pre-crime became a national hit. It might soon spread all over the country. But Danny Whitwer, an agent from the Department of Justice, shows up to look it over before it is approved across the country. Because Whitwer is smart, skeptical, and ethically sound, Anderton doesn't like him. Anderton is adamant. The system can't be wrong. It's true what the precogs say. Whitwer answers quietly. This system was made by people, right? At the start of the review, Anderton's world seems to be in order. Every crime is forecast and every killer is caught. But the beauty starts to break. During a demonstration, Anderton looks at a vision in slow motion and sees something odd. Time isn't lining up right, and some details are out of place. The info has a shadow in it, a doubt about fate. He says it's just tiredness, but the worry stays. As Anderton sits alone in his apartment, he injects himself with the hallucinogen clarity and looks at holograms of his wife and son. Their laughter fills the room and loops over and over in a perfect moment that he can never go back to. He is aware of the irony. He lives in a world without murder, but he can't get away from the death that happened in his past. Outside, thunder can be heard across the sky. They move around in their pool like precogs. There is going to be another death somewhere. Everything will be different this time because they'll guess that John Anderton is the next killer. Every morning starts the same way. Anderton walks into the pre-crime offices and looks at the crime data on the floating holograms. The cold metal, glass walls, and the quiet beat of fate being changed before it happens make the building hum with clean confidence. His pride keeps him steady even though Whitwer's questions from the day before still bother him. Since it began 6 years ago, crime prevention has never failed. That's enough proof for him. After that, the warning goes off. The main screen blooms with golden light, which means a new prediction. As the next image appears, Agatha shakes in the precog chamber, her voice shaking. Technicians are scrambling with wide eyes because the system has found a pre-murder that will happen in 36 hours. The names always go in order. First the victim, then the killer. Anderton moves closer, ready for the same thing to happen. The world stops when the second name comes up, though. "I'm John Anderton." He blinks and looks at the letters. It's not possible. The machine must be wrong. But the names are written on spheres made of wood that are carved and thrown out by the precog system, which can't be changed. Whitwer's face twists with interest, the kind of interest that makes you think of a chance. He says, "It looks like the system found a bug." Anderton says he wants to see the idea. The holographic repeat starts with flashes of a man's apartment, a clock on the wall, Anderton breaking through a door with a gun drawn, and then the eyes of a stranger who looks scared. One shot fired. Blood. Keep quiet. Leo Crow is the person who is supposed to be killed, but Anderton has never met him. There is no reason, link, or sense to it. Still, the picture is clear. In 36 hours, he will kill someone, Witwer orders his detention right away, but Anderton acts without thinking. After years of trust, there is now fear. He runs out of the room quickly, dodging security drones and co-workers who now look at him with doubt instead of respect. One cop yells, "Chief, please, let's talk about this." When it comes to the rules, Anderton knows them better than anyone else. If your name is on a pre-crime ball, you're doomed. There is no hearing or appeal. There is only confinement. He sneaks up on his team and grabs a stick and a scanner. The chase moves into the streets of DC, which are a futuristic maze of cable cars and high-speed roads that go up and down. He jumps over moving cars and avoids artificial spiders that can follow his heat signature. The hunter becoming the hunted is a strange turn of events. He is running away, but his mind is full of questions. Is someone setting him up? Could someone change the system? In a worst case, what if the precogs are wrong? Anderton goes to find Dr. Iris Heinemann, the scientist who made pre-crime, because he needs answers badly. There are a lot of strange plants and unclear morals in her greenhouse. She tells him the truth in a way that is colder than a jail cell. The precogs don't see the future. They see possible futures. They don't always agree. It's what she calls a minority report, a record of a different result that didn't happen. She says that Agatha might have proof in her mind that Anderton is innocent, but pre-crime removes minority reports to keep up the appearance that everything is fine. So, Anderton starts to question not the crime he's being charged with, but the system he has spent his whole life protecting. Anderton turns into a ghost in a city that was made to see everything. Each and every surface records, scans, and keeps an eye on things. The same technology that made pre-crime perfect is now looking for the person who made it. Ads that say John Anderton meet him by name as he walks through crowded malls and neon corridors. He doesn't know that he's now the most wanted man in America and says, "Try our newest upgrade." He stays hidden by hiding behind holographic signs while police drones fly over the area. The city's security system is always on. It sees where everyone is, what they buy, and how they move. In this perfect future, there is no longer any privacy, which is why it seems impossible to leave. He has no choice but to erase himself. He looks for an underground surgeon who does criminal identity replacements on the black market. The clinic looks sad because it's full of failed projects and lights that flicker. The doctor, who is nervous and has shaking hands, knows right away who Anderton is. He says, "You arrested me 6 years ago. You took away my freedom." Anderton draws his gun, ready to betray the doctor, but the doctor just laughs. "Don't worry, Chief. You too should be given a second shot. The surgery is very painful." He changes Anderton's retinal ID so the scanners won't be able to recognize him and swaps Anderton's eyes with new ones. The doctor tells them, "Don't take off the bandages for 12 hours. And don't cry no matter what." Anderton watches news feeds in a dirty apartment while he gets better. His face is on every station. His enemies call him a fallen hero and a traitor to the world he helped make. Witwer takes over the case and says he will bring him in, alive if possible. When Anderton's vision comes back, he goes to the only place that can still hold answers, the center of crime. There would be a minority report kept deep in the system if there really is one. With his new eyes covering his old ones, he sneaks past the security checks and into the building he used to run. Agatha floats in her pool of nutrient fluid inside the temple room. Her eyes are rolling behind her clear eyelids. Anderton moves slowly and whispers her name. She gasps when she feels him like she's been waiting for him. She says in a soft voice, "You need to run. They can still see you." But he's not going to leave until he knows the truth. He cuts her off from the system with shaking hands, freeing her from the endless visions that have been holding her back since she was a kid. As soon as her feet hit the ground, bells go off all over the building. The halls are filled with pre-crime security guards, who are led by Witwer's sharp voice on their radios. As Anderton and Agatha try to get away, the future falls apart around them in a maze of glass tubes and surveillance drones. They are so scared that they jump from the top floor into a lake below, getting away into the Undercity, which is the part of DC that no one wants to see. While Anderton helps her stand up, Agatha looks up at him with eyes that are both sad and wise. She says in a whisper, "You still have a choice. You can show them they're wrong." Anderton finally understands that the precogs are not gods after all. They are slaves. One of them just gave him a second chance to make things different. As Anderton walks Agatha through a lost neighborhood, it rains heavily on the city's steel frame. This is a place where the perfection of pre-crime has not touched it. The neon signs that flash against the puddles show a world that is more living and broken than the one above. Agatha shivers under a blanket and whispers bits and pieces of futures that come and go like dreams. It looks like each vision is unique and emotional, and some of them even show Anderton himself. He hides out in a small, rundown hotel where time seems to move more slowly, almost like it's real time. Agatha stands by the window and looks out at the street. She says, "So many lives, so many futures." When they're stopped, they don't know what they'll lose. Even though her voice is shaking from being so tired, what she says hits him hard. Anderton thought that pre-crime saved lives for a long time. Now he sees the real cost. People are being punished for what they might do, not what they did. As he wipes the frost off the window, Agatha lets out a gasp, and her pupils get bigger like storm clouds. She says, "He's close. The person you need to kill. Leo Crow." She starts to talk about things that aren't whole. A brown jacket, a cheap hotel, a gun in a drawer, pictures all over the bed. They keep coming back to her like ghosts. "You will soon see him," she says, shaking her hand. Even though Anderton doesn't want to, he knows she's right. He has to face the vision if there is even a small chance that it is real. He has to do this to show all of them and himself wrong. He hides her under a coat and takes her to a busy mall. As police officers walk the streets, drones are used to look at people's faces. Agatha stops all of a sudden and pulls on his sleeve. She tells you not to go left. "There's a police officer there. Hold on, get up!" The way she sees the future leads him through the chaos like a divine compass. Every move they make seems planned by fate, or maybe they're trying to fight it. They get to the building from what she saw. Crow Apartments is written on the door. Anderton's heart beats faster. He carefully walks in with his gun raised, expecting a trap. The room inside is exactly what Agatha said it would be, down to the clothing, the pictures, and the gun. Every picture on the wall is of a child. He has lost his son, Sean, who is one of them. Leo Crow shows up, scared and surprised. Anderton grabs him and tells him to answer. "Where did you get these?" Crow shakes his head and says he was paid to pretend to be Sean's kidnapper in order to get Anderton to come here. He begs for his life and cries out that he has never killed anyone. The thought hits like a bullet. Now is the time. The idea's coming true. Agatha screams, "You can choose!" and runs in. "You still have a choice." Anderton presses down on the trigger, but this time he doesn't pull the trigger right away. The gun goes down. The promise is broken. It doesn't work, but Crow takes the gun himself because he feels guilty and scared. He says in a low voice, "You were right," and then he kills himself in front of Anderton. There is silence in the room. The dream came true, but not the way that was thought. The future can be changed, which is something no one dared to believe. The sound of the gunshot is still playing in Anderton's head as he stumbles out of the hotel, feeling guilty and wet. When police cars and drones flash their lights, the streets become hard to see. He keeps seeing Crow's dead body on the floor, with blood all over it, and Agatha's shaking eyes as she said, "You can still choose." Although he chose kindness, the world would only see murder. Motive doesn't matter to the system. It only cares about results. In Pre-Crime's eyes, he is now a proven killer. His face is frozen in mid-blink as a warning, and his picture is all over the city's networks. John Anderton, who was not a criminal, was caught right away. Drones come down like metal bugs and look at every shadow. Anderton and Agatha disappear again into the city's darkness. They are runaways in a world that enjoys being watched. It is dirty and rusty inside the broken subway stop where they hide. Agatha sits on the cold floor and speaks in a soft, calm voice. She says in a low voice, "You didn't kill him. The reason he killed himself was because that's how it was written. What you did was different, though." That's how it starts. Anderton finally gets it. The system isn't perfect. It's weak. Precogs don't see fate. They see chances. Everything is true because of the machine. And whoever has power over the dreams has power over the future. To show that he is innocent, Anderton needs to see the Minority Report, which is the unknown prediction that could show him what might have happened instead. It's locked away in Pre-Crime's computer, though, behind a lot of security. His friend, mentor, and head of Pre-Crime, Lamar Burgess, is the last person he ever trusted, but he needs help. Using encryption lines, he talks to Burgess in secret. There is a heavy sense of sadness in the older man's voice. Why did John do what he did? Anderton cries out for help, saying he's been set up. Even though Burgess isn't sure, he agrees to meet him. "John, you're like a son to me," he says in a low voice. "All of us should work together to fix this." While Anderton feels earnestness, he also notices something strange, a hesitancy in the tone that doesn't fit. Nevertheless, he has no additional choice. He concurs. Agent Witwer, meanwhile, starts to doubt the whole case. The evidence is too good to be true. He looks at Anderton's claimed crime data again and finds errors in the timestamps, metadata, and pieces of files that have been deleted. In the course of his research, he finds pre-crime's core records and shockingly learns that one of the first murders the system ever stopped, a supposed success, may have been planned by someone inside. When Witwer goes to see Burgess, he tells him what he found. He says, "If pre-crime is based on a lie, you'll have hurt more people than you helped." Burgess smiles in a mean way. A perfect system needs imperfect sacrifices every once in a while. Witwer is found dead moments later. A new crime that no one will ever see coming. In the shadows, Anderton and Agatha are getting ready for the next thing they want to do. One way to get to the truth is to break into the system that put him on the run in the first place. Agatha puts a hand on his. "You are no longer running away from your future," she whispers. "That thing is coming up alongside you." Anderton shows agreement by nodding. When the hunter gets home, he's going to destroy the machine that made him believe in fate. Anderton moves silently at night. Once more, he sneaks into the steel heart of pre-crime, the fortress where his life was rewritten, using fake eyes and fake documents. The building buzzes like a god who is only half awake, and the endless hallways pulse with blue light and precise machinery. Screens and walls all hold secrets. Agatha holds onto his arm and leads him through what looks like a live maze of surveillance. They go down to the lower levels, passing by glass cells that hold the frozen bodies of people who were caught before they could do anything wrong. People who are innocent but guilty are stuck in a state of endless stasis, breathing but never living. Anderton stops in front of them, feeling scared. Like he used to, these people thought they still had choices, but crime had already wiped out their plans for the future. Finally get to the core room, which is where all the predictions come together. The images of the three precogs are processed, filtered, and fixed here to make a single timeline. The false impression of security. Just long enough for Anderton to get to the info, he puts Agatha back in her pod. He tells you to show me the real story. As soon as the holograms light up, streams of light and sound fill the room. 3 copies of the same murder happen, 2 of which are the same, and 1 of which is different. Different from the others. Agatha's vision shows that Anderton never killed Leo Crow. He sees himself putting down the gun, seeing mercy, and seeing a chance. It's Minority Report, the missing piece that the system hid to keep things perfect. Proof of the existence of free will. Proof that crime is not true. The alarms go off before he can download the info. "John, I warned you." Burgess's voice fills the room. "Are you going to make me your enemy?" As they come in, security teams with guns drawn. When Agatha's body responds to the psychic overload, it screams and shakes. Her dreams are all over the walls. They are flashes of hundreds of different futures crashing into each other. This guy fights like he has nothing to lose. Bullets bounce back and forth in slow circles, showing possible futures that can still be avoided. He knocks out guards with brutal efficiency and moves with the desperate grace of someone trying to avoid what is going to happen. He finally gets Agatha back and runs away into the storm with only the Minority Report as a weapon. Within him, the truth is burning. Burgess set him up, managed the forecast to keep Witwer quiet and keep pre-crime's perfect image. A man who put power over morals planned Crow's death, Witwer's murder, and even Anderton's downfall. Anderton still has one edge though. The system is obsessed with seeing the future, which works in its favor. He can show Burgess up on his own stage if he can guess what he will do next. He calls his ex-wife Lara, who is the only person he still trusts. He gets her permission to meet him behind his back. She knows right away that this isn't crazy when she sees Agatha shaking in his arms. It's a surprise. "We made a world where miracles don't happen," says Anderton. They need to be reminded of what choice means. A quick, weak, and risky plan comes together. Anderton will end it there. Tomorrow, Burgess will enjoy the national launch of pre-crime in front of the press. We already know what will happen. John Anderton plans to redo it himself for the first time. The morning of the pre-crime national event starts off with a bright, empty sky. There are hovercraft patrolling the city, and all over Washington, D.C., banners that say, "A safer tomorrow begins today." The The most powerful people in the country are gathering in the Grand Hall to enjoy the growth of the system that will end murder for good. Direction: Lamar Burgess, who is cool and collected on stage, is the mastermind behind this perfect illusion. Cameras float in the dark, but the fantasy is about to fall apart. John Anderton watches the event through enhanced lenses from a nearby building that is hidden behind air vents. Agatha sits quietly next to him, her eyes wandering between pieces of what might have been and what might never have been. She says in a whisper, "You can still stop him. Just show them what will happen." Anderton walks down the hall and down the hallway. People gasp as they see a man who was wanted walk right into the heart of the power that put him on trial. Security tries to do something, but Burgess raises his hand with the grace of a performance. He says with a thin smile, "Let him talk. It's time to hear what the chief of police has to say." The stress is broken by Anderton's speech. "You set up a system that is harsh on people for what they might do. What happens when the system itself does wrong, though?" He hits the holographic screen with a disc. Light comes and goes in the room. 3 images of the Minority Report projection come to life until the truth is revealed. Anderton lowering his gun, Leo Crow pulling the trigger, and Burgess killing Whitwer to keep his secret. People in the crowd let out gasps. Burgess's confidence mask starts to break. It's too late for him to stop shouting. He's making changes to the data. The precog's clear vision fills the screens behind him and shows him his own future. John Anderton will be killed by Lamar Burgess. The hall is very quiet. The tool, the place, and the time were all known ahead of time. The forecast turns out to be the trap. Anderton moves closer without a weapon. "See?" he asks in a low voice. "If you think the future is already written, you can't get away from it." Burgess is shaking because the weight of what he made is falling on him. The people in the crowd hold their breath, and the inventor is now stuck in his own invention. Burgess slowly pulls out his gun, his eyes wide with shock. First, he looks at the crowd, then at Anderton, and finally at the gun that is shaking in his hand. It sounds like Agatha's voice is coming through the speakers. "You have a choice," the same way he did. The world seems to stop for a long second. Finally, Burgess makes things very clear when he shoots himself. One shot. The person who made the system died with it. Things get out of hand at the wedding. The words, "Pre-crime suspended," flash across every show as officials rush around and reporters yell. The precogs are freed and taken to a secret place where they can finally dream their own dreams without being tied down by people's fear of themselves. Anderton and Lara stand together in the quiet of a house on the coast after a few weeks. It's no longer raining. Outside of the hills, Agatha and her brothers live in peace, and their dreams are quiet. Anderton looks out to the horizon. He feels unsure, free and human again. He really owns the future for the first time in years.